All right, Seton, you want to set the tone for hour one with a poll question?
Well, I want to start with the college football playoff.
Okay.
The 12 team, but I need help phrasing this. 'Cause I'm trying to figure out, so far, to me, it seems like it's been a massive success.
Yes.
It's also not gotten us any closer to figuring out who the best team in the country is.
Well, there could be a situation where Georgia is not as good as we think Georgia should be or normally is. Maybe Georgia is the 12th best team in the country or 10th best or 8th best. We've just gotten acclimated to, well, Georgia's either number one or number two in the country, and they've proven that. I've watched them this year. I mean, they almost lost to Kentucky. They're not a formidable team. Now, can they be? Yeah, probably. They're not a powerhouse. Their quarterback has regressed. They don't have those big players that they've had before. But, they're 12th now and they won't make the playoffs. I think that will probably get some eyes on this where people are going to be like, wait a minute, is this fair? Well, it's not. But as Seton says, are we getting closer to a truer form of finding the best team in college football? It's like, is March Madness the truest form to find the best team in college basketball? Because you have to win 6 games. I think that's a true form of how good you are. Now, you can get hot at the end of the season, get on a run, you can win your conference tournament, then all of a sudden you can make a run. We see this every single year. But with college football, we had, the top 2 teams, and then we went to 4, now we have 12. We'll probably eventually go to 16 or 18 at some point over the next couple of years. But I think you're going to have some people go, wait a minute, Georgia's not going to make the playoffs? Yeah. Yeah, Seton.
Like when you look at these rankings, right, say Indiana is currently ranked 5th, but they're projected to be a 7th seed.
Yeah.
BYU is ranked 6th. They're projected to be a 3 seed.
Yes. You win your conference. Oregon winning the Big Ten, Texas, the SEC, BYU, Big 12, Miami with the ACC. I mean, it is crazy because BYU is not the 3rd best team in the country. Texas hasn't been great. Miami just lost. Oregon has been good from start to finish. But some of these first-round matchups, you got Notre Dame and Tennessee at Tennessee.
That's fun.
Boise State, Ohio State at Ohio State. Ole Miss at Penn State.
That's fun.
Alabama at Indiana.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's please.
So
we should go to that.
It can't.
Don't do that to
We
us.
should go to that.
Oh, you can't say that to Paulie.
In Bloomington, Alabama, in Bloomington.
I'm really saying it to you, Dan.
Oh,
And then we all go.
okay.
Yeah.
That is right. If I
You're
go,
sort of the guy that needs to make this happen. As Paul, I love you and all, but Dan kind of needs to do this.
Well, I'm still trying to formulate our trip through the state of Iowa. So,
Speaking of great football.
yes.
Indiana's on the way to Iowa.
Yeah, and that's true. En route. Yeah, I think it's going to create some, maybe it'll be not the interest that college football wants. It'll be like, no, this is a mess. But this is what they agreed to. Sometimes we don't know what the terms are, terms and conditions. And then all of a sudden, after the fact, you go, oh, did you read the terms and conditions of that document? I didn't. Well, if you would have noticed that the Big 12 gets an automatic berth. And there aren't great teams in the Big 12. The ACC, I don't know if Miami's great. They squeaked by a lot of these games, and then they got stunned by Georgia Tech. Oregon has been really good. But you're going to have some interesting matchups. I want you to be prepared for this so there's not that sticker shock where you go, wait, what? BYU? I mean, BYU squeaked by Utah. I don't know how good they are. I haven't watched a full game, but I've watched a half and I've watched a quarter, and then I've seen the highlights. So I can't sit here and go, I can tell you everything about BYU. They barely won that game and did it in controversial fashion, at least according to Utah and their athletic director. Yes, Paul?
The new system, the 12-team system, will have seeding anger. That's a new version of anger. Your seeding anger, like you said about BYU. Go back 20 years ago. This is where it all started. A 13-0, or actually a 12-0 SEC team, Auburn, was left out of the playoff picture. That's back when it was 2 teams.
Yeah.
Went to 4. And then you start having, teams left out who were in the 5 spot, and then it goes to 12. The thing this prevents is no heavyweights will be out. No perceived heavyweights will be out of the playoffs, and no undefeated teams will be out. If Army goes undefeated, there's going to be a way in. If Boise goes undefeated, there's a way in.
Yeah, but Georgia would not make the playoffs today. That is the heaviest of heavyweights.
Right, but they have a way in. All they have to do is clean up with Tennessee this weekend. I think they'll handle UMass the week later. I'm going on a limb.
Okay.
T-bomb.
Yeah.
But there's still a way. But it becomes now a playoff game when that game may have been irrelevant a year ago.
I just think if Georgia doesn't make the playoffs, people are going to look at the playoffs and go, did they really do their job? This is the job that they were set up to do. You may not like the end result, and you may have some teams that are in there and blue bloods who aren't in there. I mean, get ready for it. Yes, Eaton.
But that's what you're describing, though, is not because of Georgia the team. It's because of Georgia the name.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think Georgia's a great team. I don't think there's a great team in college football. But because of transfer portal, NIL, I mean, Oregon is probably, heads above everybody else. They had the big win against Ohio State, but that was at home. They seem like they're a legitimate number one team. Like Penn State, I still don't get that they're up there pretty high. Ohio State, it's just BYU is going to bother some people. That's going to happen. And even Miami, you're going to be, this ain't the U. This is Miami football. It's not the U. Now, if it was the U, then we wouldn't have any argument here. But you're going to win the ACC, and you're going to win the Big 12. And somebody's getting an automatic berth, and they get a bye. That's the crazier part of this, where you're going, all right, BYU got it. Wait, they got a bye? Yes, they do. So this is what would happen. This is today. Ole Miss at Penn State. The winner plays BYU.
For the right to play.
Yeah, yes, for the honor of playing. Like Alabama's 10th right now. Like it's going to be chaos. You just have to decide if you want to embrace the chaotic portion of the college football season. I like it. I like more teams. We're discussing more teams, the possibilities. Boise State getting in is great. It's fun. If Army gets in, it's great. Fun. I like that later in the season, more schools have the possibility. And it wasn't that way when we had the 14 playoff. And I know the SEC and Big Ten, it should be weighted towards them. The scales should be weighted or tilted towards them. It's just not going to be. Yes, Heaton.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Army, even at 9-0, they're still ranked 24th.
Yeah.
They need some help.
Well, they got to beat
to
Notre
jump up
Dame.
that far.
They got to beat Notre Dame.
Yes, they have to beat Notre Dame.
That's at Yankee Stadium. But if they do win against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is playing pretty well, just ask Florida State, then, Army, they might get in there. Yeah, Paul.
Never underestimate the swell of patriotism, because if they beat Notre Dame, which a lot of people don't like Notre Dame, will be rooting for Army, will lead with Army the next day. Then they have UTSA, and then it's likely they would play Navy on back-to-back weeks. The AAC championship game, which is really weird, and then the traditional Army-Navy game.
Isn't that
to end the season.
wild?
Yes.
That's wild.
That's a lot of TV time that last month.
And I don't know if a service academy can beat another service academy back-to-back. Like, it just feels like the emotion attached to that, to win. You're going to win your championship, but you might lose to Navy after that.
They should, how about this idea? The AAC championship game, I would never want to besmirch that tradition. And then what if they combined it into one weekend and said, we're going to decide this all in one game? Like Navy and Army agree. Instead of playing 2 games back-to-back, we'll cancel the one on December 6th and just do it all on December 14th for all the marbles.
All right. I'll see if I can get a hold of
Push
some
for
people. I'll see what I can do there.